Hello sunshine, this is Joy from Michigan in the US, and it has been a really challenging day today, so I am going to do this whole pour with a voiceover. I just didn't feel up to talking while I was painting when I created this one. I'm using a new pouring medium, the Artisan. I mixed that just with the teal. All the rest of my paints were mixed with Floetrol and a little bit of water to get to the right consistency. My white that I'm using has dragonfly glaze in it. So I'm going to use that as the top layer, and it's got a little bit of silicone in it as well. So I hope all of you are doing well. I have decided to do a little bit of a feather pour. I've never done this before, so there's a lot of learning as I went through this, but it's just a fun little pour to try, a little swipe. So there's the line for my feather. And I'm putting down, this is that cerulean blue with white from my previous pour. And it just didn't want to flow off the stick very well, so I think I give up on that pretty quickly. There we go. A little cerulean blue that's lightened up with some white. And this is one of those greens that I mixed up forever ago, and I'm not sure which color of green it is, but a basic green. And then I'm going to add that teal. I think this one's called Lake Blue, but it's a turquoise color. Again, the stick did not work real well. I tried to get a little more on that second time, and it worked, but it came out splotchy. But the cup was really full, so I didn't want to try to pour from that cup. This next color is from my last pour that I ended up scraping. It does have silicone in it. It's a metallic blue. It's a mix of a lot of different colors, but I wanted to try that. Add a little silicone with the other colors. And then of course the white that I put on the very top has silicone as well, so we kind of get a double whammy there. Changed my mind. I was going to put that dragonfly glaze white on, and I decided I've got too much paint up at the top of the feather, and so I'm trying to take just a little bit of that off, which didn't work real well. And now back to the white with the dragonfly glaze and silicone. Alright, for this section I've sped up the speed of the video, otherwise this is going to be really boring to watch. But I'm just ripping off pieces of paper towel, and I'm kind of ripping them as I go, so when you see a pause, that's because I'm having to rip the paper towel into the right size piece. But it was very simple to do. I really appreciated that part of it. It was not challenging at all. It was kind of relaxing, gave me a minute to stop and think what I wanted to do next as I prepared my materials. Really trying to keep that white at the tip of the piece of paper towel so that it stretches over the other colors and adds that cell action that I'm looking for. I'm just working my way up. It's really ideal to be able to lift your paper towel just like those last two swipes where you get a really feathery end, but it's really hard to maintain the correct pressure and lift it just the right moment and the right slowness, I guess is how I would say it. So you have to kind of slowly lift your paper towel to get that feathery effect. But I go back towards the end of this, you'll see me using a skewer to add those feathery details. So it's not crucial. You can always go back and tweak things. So keep in mind this is at double speed. So I'm moving pretty slowly on this, which I think is important. It can be challenging if you try to go too fast, so I just was trying to take my time. This was definitely an art therapy evening. The lighting is not the best, and that's why. It was just overwhelming day and needed some time to just create and kind of let everything else from the day go. So I hope that's what you're able to find as you pursue your own art journey. I hope that it helps you along just like it did for me. Art is a beautiful thing in that it's a great method of therapy. And I'm sure if you search YouTube, you'll find all sorts of tutorials on feathers. They're really fun. And I think that they speak to a lot of people. A lot of people have connections to feathers. So they're just a fun piece to do. See there, I didn't quite lift like I would have preferred, but you can always go back. Just try to let this be your relaxed time, no stress. And the cells really did come through lovely on this. There were a lot of pretty things. Oh, a little drop there, just clean that up with my finger, no big deal. Now this section up here had a lot of paint. So I'm going to do a swipe, and then I think on this next one I'm going to try to take some of that paint up. So intentionally trying to get some of that paint to stick to the paper towel just because there was a big chunk of it there. And now just trying to add the stem of the feather so it's got more of a feather look to it. I'm going to pour some white over the end of my skewer, the larger end of my skewer, and add a stem to the base of the feather there. Just trying to kind of continue that shape so that your eye doesn't have to fill it in. There's enough there that you immediately recognize it, even though it's very abstract. So now I'm just adding some little details. This is the small end of the skewer, just running it through so we get more lines on the end of the feather there, more definition instead of a harsh line. That one, especially that area right there, was pretty harsh. It just ended, so that's not what I was looking for. So just going in and adding little details, kind of fiddling. It's a lot of fun. And sorry about the shadow. It was fairly late in the day and we just didn't have the best lighting in the art room. But this was my therapy session, so I knew I needed it and I was happy to be able to record it. And it was helpful to not talk during it, so I'm glad you guys will bear with me as I work out all my kinks. So I went through that stem again a second time just to kind of re-emphasize the shape and give it a center line. And you can't quite see the end of that feather there, but I'm just continuing to add those little details. All right, dipping the paper towel into the white paint with the silicone so I can just swipe over. Again, still that section with a bit too much paint that I was a little bit worried about. Dipping the paper towel into the white really was an effective way to add some more detail, add some more selling on the feather. And now I'm going back in, well, I'm doing a little of both. So I went in from the black to push back parts that had come out too far, or to give a little more definition without widening that feather any further than what it already was. And that section is very teal. I'm trying to pull some of the other colors into it to give it a little more visual interest. And there we go. That was the end. I'm happy with it. There's a picture I was able to take. And just using my creme brulee torch here to add any more cells to pop the air bubbles and just to see if it has any kind of effect on it. It really didn't, but I'm happy with the end result either way. So this is the following day. Just going in for a little close-up for you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so appreciative of each and every one of you. If you're a subscriber, thank you for that. If you're not, I would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button and watch for my other videos. I do all sorts of different things. If you're looking for acrylic pouring, I do title those acrylic pouring. If you're looking for basic art instruction, those are labeled Art 1. So just keep in mind, I do label those differently. Thanks so much, guys. See you on the next one.